The following content is a parody of Five Nights at Freddy's. As such, all of the voices and personalities of the characters are not meant to necessarily reflect those from the games themselves. Instead, they are different interpretations of the characters who play video games and have wacky adventures. With that being said, please sit back and enjoy the video.
Danieljd111 Verse. Number 1. The Beginning. Prologue. July 2020. It was a boring year during quarantine. One day, a young man named Daniel was on his laptop watching YouTube videos, and then he made a drawing of a family pizza restaurant from Five Nights at Freddy's called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza on the laptop. Then stormy weather happened, and then a strike of lightning hit the power cable, and it shocked the laptop and its plug until something unexpected happened. Daniel got shocked by the laptop as well, and the static was starting to go all around his body, and the static got pulled into the laptop along with Daniel. Chapter 1. First Meet. Daniel appeared from a spark of static until he starts falling through the sky. It was raining, and he screamed his lungs out as he's falling. He was about to land onto the ground in a rough landing until he was stopped by some sort of gravity. But it wasn't just gravity. It was some sort of force that's holding him in the air by something. He looked around to see who did that until he sees a tall figure with white stripes on his arms and legs, 3 buttons on his chest, and a mask with red cheeks, purple tears, and red lipstick. He recognized it immediately as the puppet from the Five Nights at Freddy's series, but it's described as a more withered appearance, and its face looks cracked because of a line in the middle of it. It then carefully placed Daniel on the ground, and it let go of the power that was holding him, leaving Daniel looking shocked and confused at the same time. "Puppet?" Daniel asked, but it didn't respond to him for a second, who kept staring at him. It then let out a deep breath. "It's Charlotte, not Puppet," it said with a female voice in a calm tone. "Oh, sorry then, Charlie," Daniel said, feeling sorry for calling her the wrong name. She nodded. "Could you tell me where I am?" Daniel asked, wondering where he would fallen.
"Well, judging by how you look, you obviously look like someone who never been to this area before,"
she said. Then Daniel looked beside her and is shocked to find out that it seemed to be a building. But it ain't just a building, but a pizzeria from the same drawing he made. It looked like it has been seen better days, and it had a bear waving on top of the place, who appears to be the star himself, Freddy Fazbear. But it is just part of the building, like one of those billboards that moves. But this one ain't moving, as it is obviously broken. "Wait, what year is it?" he quickly asked.
"It is indeed the year 2020,
She answered. Should we go inside?" Daniel asked.
"I suppose,"
she replied. They both walked into the entrance, but she wasn't exactly walking, but instead floating in midair.
"Would you like to take a seat?"
she suggested. "Sure," he answered. He then took a seat in a table of the party room. She also took a seat with him, and then they started to talk.
"It's been a while since I had company like this,"
she said. "Oh, well, when was the last time you did something like this?" he asked, but worried he might hurt her feelings. She took a deep breath again.
"It was way back in 1977.
As she says this, a spark of light flashed. Chapter 2. Charlotte's Past. Fall, 1977. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
It was a rainy night, as cheering of children was happening at Freddy's. Then did Charlotte to what she looked like as a child. She was described having black hair with a gray shirt, and a black skirt, and then a green bracelet that was for Freddy's. She was sitting at a table with a boy, and they talked and laughed at the table. Meanwhile, some kids were placing gift boxes on top of a big gift box to prevent something from escaping. They then walk up to them and pushed the boy away and picked up Charlie towards the entrance and threw her outside and closed the doors. Nobody knows why. The boy then got up and they start to walk up to him as Charlie begins to cry until a purple car pulls up behind her. She turned around to see what that is until the car door opened. Out came a man in purple clothing who closed the door behind him and walked towards her. "Alone?" he calmly asked. She nodded while tears continued to stream on her face. "You just want to have fun again, don't you?" he asked again. She nodded again. "I can make that happen for you," he said from calm to sinister as he whipped out a knife and stabbed her. Meanwhile, the thing in the box finally escaped as it revealed to be the puppet, but it didn't have the tears or lipstick, but it has green eyes. It noticed what is happening outside and heads towards the entrance. When it got out the doors, there was nothing, and it started searching for them at the corner. But it started to malfunction because of the rain and started sparkling out until it finally found Charlie. But she was laying on the ground with no movement, and it then got on top of her while it continues to rain until the light flashed again. "And I woke up as this," she said as she starts to shed a tear from her eye. Daniel put his hand on her shoulder, feeling sorry. "Everything's fine now. The puppet guy is gone now, isn't he?" he asked. "No, he's still out there somewhere. I just know it," she said, sounding serious. "Well, can we at least find the other souls that are still around?" he asked, wondering if other animatronic beings like her are still around, even though she's not exactly like one. She looked at him for a moment and said, "We could try," while wiping the tear away. Chapter 3 Scavenger Hunt. The next morning, they start to walk out of the pizzeria and scatter to find any animatronics that might be alive still. The puppet went to the trees that are across the pizzeria until something caught her eye. A purple animatronic bear laying next to a tree. She quickly floated towards him, wondering if it's still alive. She shook the bear, trying to wake it up until its glowing white pupils started to open. "Chris?" she asked, wondering if it's someone she knew. "Yeah," he replied. She was relieved to finally find a long lost soul. She let out a hand to him. He grabbed it to get up from the tree, but blocked his eyes from the brightness of the sun. She led him to the pizzeria to keep him comfort and safe while Daniel continued searching. Daniel walked miles from now until he found something. Another pizzeria like Freddy's, but much older and rotten. He walked through the entrance to search, and sure enough, he did find something. 3 animatronics on the show stage, and a small one on the floor, and then a mangled and broken one in the other room. He contacted Charlotte and informed her about what he found. She then told her she'll be on her way. She then teleported next to him and gave him a little shriek. "Was that another one of your abilities?" he asked, still startled. "Yes," she immediately replied. She then seized the robots Daniel found. "We must bring them back," she said. "Okay," Daniel said. He gathered all the animatronics and their parts in a big brown box, She then teleported themselves back to the pizzeria so they can start repairing them. While bringing them to the backstage, Chris was at the table, sitting in silence. He then sensed something, like Spider-Man senses, like there's something familiar to him in here. He then got out of his chair to investigate that leads him to the bathrooms. He then sees a lot of broken animatronic parts on the floor, along with a boarded door way at the left corner of the male bathroom. He then tears the boards off the doorway so he can get in there. He then sees something that sensed him. A green rotten bunny suit that's been in there for decades and seems to have a person in there. Flash. Chapter 4. The Man in the Suit. November 1995. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza the Third. It was a dark and stormy night, and on the stage was Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, and leads to Pirate's Cove that has the fox animatronic named Foxy. The entrance doors opened, and out comes a man with a purple, rotted, and smelly body. The man then walks like a zombie as he leads to the same doorway from the bathrooms. The purple bear, Chris, was also there, and when he saw that man, he became enraged. He then tells the animatronics to follow him that'll lead them to the man and attack him. The attack failed. The robots were not able to go in the bathrooms, were not able to go in the room for unknown reasons, and the man ended up dismantling them one by one. Then a spirit appeared in front of the stage and starts to float towards the doorway and pass through the broken down bots. And in there was the man and the bunny suit behind him, and all of a sudden 4 more spirits appeared who are enraged. The man was terrified at the sight of them and said, "Wait, I didn't do anything, I swear," in a very scared tone. Then the puppet appeared with them ready to end his life. Then the man decided to hide in the suit in hoping it'll let them go away. "See, it's me, Bonnie. I'm on your side," he said while heavy breathing intensifies. The roof was leaking and freezing cold rain starts to drop on him. It turns out to be a spring lock suit, and these intend to fail when they get wet. Because of this, it sets off the locks and begins to crush him like a garbage compactor. As blood starts slowly dripping from the suit as he screams in agony. He then fell to the floor as he still kept bleeding, and then the spirits disappeared, all except Chris, who stared at the man. He then slowly realized that this man appeared to be Michael Afton, his older brother. Not only that, he thought it was the same brother who indirectly killed him when he got bitten by a yellow animatronic bear at his birthday. But it was actually not, as he looked different from that day. He then begins to cry as the light flashed again. Chris kept looking at the bunny suit today as tears began to stream on his face like before. Then sudden movement came from the suit that made Chris quickly look up at him again. The suit's eyes slowly opened. "Brother," he said softly. "Chris," Michael said while sounding weak. Chris then hugged him gently and cried but was happy, relieved to finally reunite with his real brother. Michael hugged him back and is also starting to tear up. Meanwhile, on the backstage, Daniel and Charlie were still repairing the bots, trying to bring them back. They finally fixed the first one they repaired, and that animatronic is known as Balloon Boy, a humanoid bot with blue eyes, red cheeks, orange nose, and a mouth that doesn't move that is part of the design. He also has a propeller striped hat and is red and blue. A red and blue striped shirt with buttons on his chest, blue pants, brown shoes, and fingerless hands. The door opened and was Chris. "Guys, there's something I would like to show you," he said, and then moved away to reveal Mike. Charlie startled at the sight of him. "Don't worry, he's with me," Chris said.
What? But he's the cause of all this.
He said, sounding angry. "He's not the man you think. He's my brother, Michael. He said. She then remembered what Michael said before he got spring-locked.
Wait, I didn't do anything, I swear.
"See, it's me, boy.
I'm on your side.
We thought you were him because we thought you were faking when you said those things. Wait, now I know why. Because you and your father look like the same person with the purple skin," she said, sounding calm. "Well, I can assure you, I am nothing like him," Michael said. "I didn't even know how I got here, but I guess it's a mystery for another day." "Indeed," said a mysterious voice that made everyone shriek. "Who said that?" Danieljd said. "Pardon me," the voice continued, who turns out it was behind Daniel that made him shriek again. The voice came from a yellow animatronic bear that was there years ago as well. Sorry for giving you quite a scare," it said with an echoey voice. "And who are you?" Chris asked. It took seconds for it to answer. "Just call me Yellow Bear from now," he said. "Nah, doesn't really roll off the tongue," Daniel said. "I don't understand what you just said, but I believe you disagree with the name," Yellow Bear said. "How about going, Freddy?" Daniel said. "Fine," he said. "Now with that settled, let's wake this boy up," Daniel said. He then pushed the button of a panel with a static image on it. It turns out to be a control shock that shocked Balloon Boy for a moment that might power him up and bring him back. 10 seconds later, the eyes started to move. The eyes are starting to move slowly. "Huh? Where am I?" he said while waking up. "Welcome to Freddy's, kid," Daniel said, sounding excited. Balloon Boy looked down and realized what he is and let out a tear.
What is my purpose anymore? Why didn't I just be with my family at peace?
He said as he starts to cry. "It's okay, Damien. We will find them and bring them back," Chris said.
Huh? How did you know my name?
Balloon Boy asked. "Damien, it's me." As he says this, BB's eyes widen as his and Chris's memories come crawling back. Chapter 5. The Bite of 83.
Was that the bite of 87?
"No, Mark, it's the 83 now. Go away."
My whole world is turned upside down. That doesn't make any sense.
October 20th, 1983. Unknown location. Today was Chris's 6th birthday, leading to Chris sitting at a table with a yellow stuffed bear. It was actually his and his twin sister's birthday today, but his sister unfortunately horrifically died a few months ago. So it was just his birthday as he starts falling asleep.
Hey,
Chris woke up from someone calling him. Huh? He looked up to see the person who woke him up. It was a young girl with orange-pink tail, hair, light orange t-shirt, and red skirt, and red and orange shoes.
wow, Chris. Is the birthday party so boring that even the birthday boy managed to fall asleep?
She asked while giving a little chuckle. Leave me alone, Sally. I'm trying to stay awake, but it's not easy, he grudgingly replied and looking tired. It's just been difficult for me to sleep, he added while rubbing his eyes.
About your sis again?
She asked. Worse. Have you ever seen The Nightmare Freddy? He asked.
Nightmare? I mean, I've had a bad dream about them. They're creepy, Chris. Just look at them on stage.
She said, pointing at the two on stage animatronics. Those two were Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. Fredbear looked identical to Golden Freddy, but has a purple top hat and bow tie instead of black, and Spring Bonnie had a much different design than the other one.
Shaking, creaking around like that? And you would come off stage to sing to us, which is scarier than it looks. Yeah, they're pretty creepy.
She added. No, Sally, I wasn't talking about Fredbear, he said. I was talking about Freddy, the brown bear, and Foxy and Chica and Bonnie, he added.
You mean the characters from Fredbear and Friends?
She asked, referring to her cartoon with them. Yeah, he said as he remembers getting frightened about them in his room from his dreams. I see them every night. They creep around my room and try to scare me to death. As he says this, he remembers when the nightmares Foxy jumped at him from his closet. He shuddered because of that. At least Fredbear's keeping me safe, he said as he holds onto the bear.
Are you talking about your plushie?
She asked.
It's keeping you safe?
He nodded.
She chuckled for a moment and said,
You're so silly, Chris. So silly that it's kind of cute.
his cheeks turned red because of that, and smiled and said, Thanks, Sally.
Anytime.
She replied. They then walked up to the prices stand where there was another kid there.
Oh, hi,
The kid greeted. Hello, Chris replied.
getting a plush doll too?
The kid asked. Yeah, I guess, Chris said.
You lost your sister? Yeah, the kid asked. Chris was confused at first. You overheard me, didn't you? Chris asked. Is that a bad thing? The kid asked again. Oh no, it's fine, It's just... Yeah, I did, Chris said, then looking down. Oh, well, I also lost a sister, the kid said. When did it happen? The kid questioned. Months, Chris said. Well, I lost mine years ago, the kid said. Chris was shocked as well as Sally.
Hey, what's your name?
The kid questioned. Chris Afton.
Damien James.
Damien said as they shook hands. They became friends from then on, and Sally was happy.
Hey, think you want one of those?
Sally asked.
Yeah, maybe,
He answered.
I don't have one of those yet. That's the Bonnie?
He asked.
Yeah, they're like 1,200 tickets. We could pull it together if you want to,
She said. Chris yawned. That might be fun. Hey, loser, happy birthday,
said someone from behind Chris, who turns out to be his brother, who was wearing a Foxy mask.
Michael.
Stop, Chris said. Yeah, Michael, stop. He's gonna cry, said the other guy who was wearing a Freddy mask.
Leave me out, Mike. I'll tell Dad,
Chris said. If you want to keep that stupid bear, you won't tell Dad. Shh, Mike said.
You guys are such bullies, seriously? Back off, it's Chris's birthday.
Sally said, trying to defend him. Get it, you little... Yeah, the bully said, pushing her away. Chris's tears started streaming. I can't believe you need a girl to defend you, Chris, said the other one with a chicken mask. Damien didn't want to get involved into this, and instead watched as they continued to pick on Chris. Wow, your brother's kind of a baby, isn't he? It's hilarious, Mike said. Why don't we help him get a closer look? He'll love it.
No, please,
Chris said as they lifted him up in the air. Come on, guys, let's get this little man a lift, Mike said. He wants to get up close and personal.
No, I don't want to go,
Chris said, still crying. You heard the little man. He wants to get even closer, Mike said as he laughed. Wait, don't go there, Damien yelled as they walked up to the stage. Hey guys, I think the little man said he wants to give Fredbear a big kiss. Mike said. No! Screamed Sally and Damien. On three. 1, 2. They then placed Chris's head into its mouth. Please, Michael, I'm scared, Chris said while still tearing up until... Chris? Damien said. No. Sally said quietly. What's happening here? Said one of the employees. As he ran to them, the body of Chris caught his eye. Dear God. We need paramedics over here, now! He yelled as the light flashed again. Chris? Damien asked. Is it really you? I thought you... He shuddered. It's alright. It's alright. She brought me back, and so did you. And many that's all that matters right now, Chris said, referring to Charlie. And like I said, we'll find your family if, and only if, they're still there and bring them back, Chris added. Promise? Promise. Then they shook hands like before when they became new friends. One down, many to go, Daniel said. I can help with that, Michael said. Charlie looked at him with a suspicious look. You said you're nothing like your father, she said. I'll tell you more about me some other time, Michael replied. They suddenly heard a clanking noise. Mike went to check what that was. It came from the door. He opened the door and found out the noise came from a lonely, formerly advanced endoskeleton that's just laying next to the door. It then awoken and laid its green eyes on Michael. Michael? It said with a female and calm voice. Mike was confused until he remembered. Flash. Chapter 6. Michael's Fate. October 1995. Circus Babies Entertainment and Rental. Michael Afton was standing in an elevator that's leading him to Circus Babies. It turns out he's actually there because of a call he got from his father, William, who is behind bars for his unforgivable crimes. He told his son he needed to go save his younger sister, who died by the baby animatronic. William believes that his daughter's soul may be attached to the baby animatronic. Mike agrees to what his father asks and went to the underground facility. During night 3, he was kidnapped. The next night, he woke up and was shocked to find out that he is inside an animatronic suit. He breathed heavily until...
Shh, be still and quiet.
Baby said quietly.
You've been sleeping for quite a while. I think they noticed that you never left the building last night. The cameras were searching for you, but they couldn't find you. I have you hidden too well. I kidnapped you. Don't be afraid. I'm not going to hurt you. I am only going to keep you for a little while. Try not to wiggle, though. You're inside something that came from my old pizzeria. I don't think it was ever used, at least not the way it was meant to be used. Too dangerous. It's just big enough for one person to fit inside, but just barely. You're in the scooping room. Do you know why they call it the scooping room? It's because, dummy, this is the room where they use the scooper. I thought that would be obvious.
Moments later.
There's something very important that I've learned how to do over time. Do you know what that is? How to pretend. Do you ever play make-believe? pretend to be one way when you are really the other. It's very important. Ballora never learns, but I do. They think there is something wrong on the inside. The only thing that matters is knowing how to pretend.
Then an alarm went off, and that leads to the animatronic Ballora, who was next to Mike, getting scooped by the scooper.
I'll open the faceplates for you. That way they can find you on the cameras.
She said as the faceplate of the suit opens.
Now all you have to do is wait. I'd recommend that you keep the spring locks wound up. Your breathing and your heartbeat are causing them to come loose. You don't want them to get too loose. Trust me.
She later lets him go. The next evening, Baby killed the two technicians so they don't interfere with her plans for the night. Michael then found their bodies hanging through the windows of the control module room. He went through the vents of the Funtime auditorium and went to parts and service and fix Baby as he's told.
Great job reaching parts and service.
Said the AI unit known as Hand Unit.
Circus Baby has been deactivated for an unknown reason. It's your job to make sure she is structurally stable and secured to the conveyor. Our technicians will take it from there.
Can you hear me?
Baby quietly asked.
I'm pretending. Remember how I said I could pretend? The cameras are watching. I must be careful not to move. Something bad happened yesterday. Something bad always happens. I don't want it to happen again. There is something bad inside of me. I'm broken. I can't be fixed. I'm going to be taken to the scooping room soon, but it's not going to fix what's wrong with me. What is bad is always left behind. Will you help me? I want you to save what is good, so the rest can be destroyed and never recovered. But you must be careful. Ballora is here, in the room with us. Ballora will not return to her stage. Ballora will not return to her body. You must be careful. You must remain calm and listen to my voice. There is a button on my cheek. You must find it and press it.
Michael then pressed the right cheek, and on the left side of her face opened to reveal a keypad.
There is a passcode that you must enter before you can retrieve me. Enter the code carefully.
Michael entered 10 numbers on the keypad. It'll be any number you like.
Good. A hatch should have opened. Take the card that you find inside.
Mike then found the card in the left arm and took it.
Now you must turn back. I will guide you through Funtime Auditorium so you can reach the scooping room. When you are there, I want you to destroy this body. Put the card into your handheld device, and I can continue to speak to you. Now, press the green button to your left. This will send me to the scooping room.
He pressed it, and the rail she was sitting on moved to the left.
Ballora is going to follow you. She will try to catch you. I will help you avoid her. She will not follow you inside the scooping room. She is afraid. Go back now.
Moments later, again.
You've entered a highly dangerous area.
said Hen Unit.
You have entered from Maintenance Hatch 1B, reserved for cleaning and repair of the scooper. Entering this side of the room is strictly prohibited by unauthorized personnel.
His voice cut out as Mike seized broken parts of the animatronics.
You are in the scooping room now.
Baby's voice said.
Funtime Foxy has already been here today. Funtime Freddy has already been here today. Allura has already been here today. Circus Baby has already been here today.
Michael then sees a mysterious figure at the window, who appears to be a mash of endoskeletons and wires, and has a clown-like mask with a red nose and a party hat.
I've been out before, but they always put me back. They always put us back inside. There's nowhere for us to hide here. There is nowhere to go when we look like this. But if we looked like you, then we could hide. If we looked like you, then we would have somewhere to go. The scooper only hurts for a moment.
Then the alarms went off, until... Then everything went blank for Michael. Chapter 7, Sibling Reunion. Sis? Michael asked. She nodded.
Mikey,
Yeah?
could you do me a favor?
Okay, what is it?
I need you to retrieve my physical body from the facility, and when you do, fix it and maybe clean it and place the skeleton inside.
I thought...
I know what I said, but if Mom, Dad, and our brother is still out there, then I won't be alone with you anymore.
He then nodded. He then carried her inside and sat her on the party table. Could you tell me what that is? Yelled Chris, who was standing at and who was staring at the door of the backstage. I'll explain later, Chris, but right now I have more business to attend to, he said as he ran through the entrance. Wait! Chris said, and then groans.
He's just retrieving my body from the facility, Chris.
How do you know my name? He then stopped as he sees the green eyes of his sister.
Elizabeth?
She nodded with open arms. He couldn't resist hugging his long-lost sister as he starts bursting into tears.
It's okay, Chris. I am here,
she said while comforting him. I should have saved you if I was there, he said while sobbing.
Don't think too much of it. Mikey helped me escape from the facility, and that's all that matters.
He took a deep breath. I'm glad he did. 2 hours later. Daniel and Charlotte were still repairing until they finished 2 more, who are Bonnie and Foxy. As it goes, Michael finally returned with not just the body of Baby, but the other animatronics as well. Took you long enough, Chris said. What do you think? What do you expect when you see a guy who is overloaded? Michael said. Point taken, Chris replied. 20 minutes later, they finally fixed the body and inserted the endoskeleton.
Just like how it was,
Elizabeth said. Chris looked at her for a moment and then hugged her again. Michael joined in as well. At this point, the Afton children are together again. Epilogue. 1 week later, it was a bright and sunny day as there is the pizzeria again, but this time it's cleaned up and the billboard was finally moving as it's obviously working. Along with that, there are cheering and excitement going on too. Turns out they actually fixed about everything inside, including the animatronics, the placements, and with the additional price counter next to Pirate's Cove that was for the puppet. Pretty much everything was perfect the way it was. Though not all of them can perform. In that doorway from the bathrooms became Chris and Michael's personal room, and once in a while, they would peek to watch the show until they went in again when someone's coming to the bathrooms. After hours, Michael was outside at night looking up at the stars. He then pulled out a tape recorder and pressed the record button, and says the following.
Father, it's me, Michael. I did it. I found it. It was right where you said it would be. They were all there. They didn't recognize me at first, but then they thought I was you. And I found her. I put her back together, just like you asked me to. She's free now. But something is wrong with me. I should be dead, but I'm not. I've been living in shadows. There is only one thing left for me to do now. I'm going to come find you. I'm going to come find you.
Then press stopped. 1 year later, 2021. Business continued booming with a new attraction next to Freddy's, a horror attraction known as Fazbear's Fright, and is filled with nightmarish versions of the animatronics who are actually clones. But that's a story for another day. And also, more and more animatronics were restored at Freddy's. At this point, Daniel and his friends would go on to keep their stars shining and possible adventures. What it'll be next on Danieljd111 Verse.